Hey guys, this is Nolan Sandberg, and what I wanted to do today is I wanted to talk a little bit about a real estate deal that I'm currently doing down here in Birmingham, Alabama. And I did a short reel on it, a 60-second overview, but I wanted to break down the details of the deal, so maybe it's something that you guys can do as well. So let me just give you the gist of this thing. There's two warehouses here in Birmingham. They're about, one is 14,000 square feet. So let's go building one. Building one. Two. Okay. For the first building has about 10,000 square feet. And this one over here has about 9. Okay. So right now, when the previous owner purchased these pieces of real estate, there wasn't a tenant in there. So what he did is he took a tenant and he placed them, and he got these things called triple net leases. And so what that means is the actual tenant is the one paying all the outgoings, which is the property taxes, the insurance, all the maintenance on the building. He takes care of everything. Well, I'm just the one that's on the back end servicing that, being the landlord. So again, that's a triple net lease. So these leases for both of them are triple net. And the rents on both of these buildings are the exact same. They're identical, which is $5,400 a month. Okay, now getting into the meat of this thing. Again, the purchase price on these buildings for combined $1.43 million, okay? And most people, in traditionally speaking in real estate, the lender is going to require you to bring 20% to the deal. Sometimes with commercial real estate, it's a little bit higher. Depending upon how aggressive your lender is, it could be a little bit lower. Maybe anywhere from 25 to 15% of a down payment of equity position or equity injected into the deal. And that's pretty much commonplace, okay? So here's how I got creative, and I got this deal to go zero money down, okay? So listen to this. What I did to the owner, because right now at a $1.3 million purchase price, the equity injection needs to be $288,000, okay? So what I did is I was speaking with my agent, and what he told me is he said, hey, because my game is always doing an owner finance deal, finance the down payment. If you're in real estate, you understand that at the end of the day, when someone calls you up and says, hey, would you owner finance? Immediately, I'm not doing that, because it means one of two things. That person doesn't have money, or number two, they're not sophisticated enough to do a deal or transact or close the deal. So what I did, when I called this owner of this property up and I said, look, dude, I will give you the purchase price of $1.43 million, but I have an idea. What if, just hypothetically, if you're open-minded, what if I was to write you a check right now for $1.1 million, and then in 33 or 36 months later, I wrote you another check for $300,000? Is that something that you might be interested in? And he goes, let me call my accountant. Bam, he clicks. 5 minutes later, he calls me back up and says, yeah, we can do that, no problem. So what did I do right there? How did I negotiate this deal? What I did is the owner is financing me the down payment. So imagine, I come to closing, and the owner on paper is giving me $288,000, which is the 20% required by my lender as the down payment. And so on paper, to the lender, it looks as if I'm the one bringing the money, okay? He's still providing the $1.1 million to that borrower, or to the owner of the property, to the seller, in exchange. And then the owner of the property, so he is still in this deal. He is subordinating his position behind the lender. Let me explain this. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to explain how this works, okay? In the very first part of this, so the purchase price again is $1.43 million. So the first position, or the bank, what they're going to do is they're going to require, again, 80%. And again, don't kill me about my math, but roughly it's 1.1 million. That's what the bank's going to provide. They're going to write a check for $1.1 million to that owner, okay? And so that is what they call first position. First position lien, that's right. So if you think about this, the owner of the bank is the one that's financing me the deal. They're providing 80%. They're in first position. They have a lien on that piece of real estate. I'm the owner, but they have first claim if something goes sideways with me, okay? So what the owner does is he subordinates his position behind the first position, or behind the bank that I'm working with, or my lender. So he takes second position of 20%, which is 288K, okay? So for me, I don't have to worry about any of the outgoings. Again, remember the leases are triple net leases. So the income on that property every single month is what? $10,800 a month in income. And then my debt service, because I negotiated this as well. This second position where normally I have to pay him interest, I'm going to backload that interest on a 36-month balloon payment, so I will be able to refinance. Let me explain this. So this is what I'm making per month in rent. My debt service every month to my first position lender is, let's see here, my mortgage minus 71. Oops. So you guys do the math on that. What is that? $4,700? And cash flow. So what I just did is I created an asset out of nothing. So think about this for a second. Here's where this deal gets really awesome, because you're probably saying, Nolan, well, wait a minute. What happens in 36 months when this tenant or when this previous owner has a balloon payment and needs that extra $300,000? Well, here's where this gets cool. So what most people don't think about, but in commercial real estate, the deal is underwritten differently than residential real estate. And what I mean is residential real estate, if you have 100 homes in a residential area and you build one more home right next to it, and all those houses are going for $100,000, that 101st house will go for $100,000 because of the comps in the area. Well, commercial real estate, on the other hand, is underwritten differently to commercial banks. So how they do that, the intrinsic value of a piece of real estate, in commercial real estate, value equals rent divided by cap rate. Oops, cap rate. And the cap rate is the multiple of its rental income, okay? So what I'm getting at is, if this was a cap rate of 10% and the rent was $100,000 a year, you multiply or you divide the rent by the cap rate, the intrinsic value of that property is $1 million. That's how you get back to what the value is. So what we're doing knowing that intrinsic value is derived by the rent divided by the cap rate in commercial real estate, what I know is in those triple net leases, the rents actually bump up. I have a rent review every year, and they bump 3% every single year. So I just did the math and I worked backwards. I said, okay, if I know the intrinsic value of this property right now is $1.43 million, and the rent bumps, I increased the rent by 9% on both buildings, the value of the building is gonna go up to over $2 million, or both buildings, $2 million. Now, again, remember, the bank is willing to lend me 20%. So I have to work backward and find out, okay, what is 20% of $2 million? Or it's going to be about $2.3 million. What's 20% of that? $1.8 million. So they're willing to write me a check for $300,000+ because that's the equity that I built into the deal. What do I do with that extra $300,000? I pay off my second position lien to the previous owner. That's how we do deals with no money down. And I just wanted to explain that because I get a lot of hate on the internet just because people say you can't do that, or that property's not going to do this or this or that. Or even worse, you can't find deals in this market simply because the market's so hot. You can find deals. You have to be willing to negotiate and turn over rocks. So I just wanted to educate you guys on just how I underwrite deals, how I look at deals differently, and how you can do the same thing too. So I would encourage you guys, when you're driving down to work or you're driving to school or whatever you're doing, instead of just driving with your head go on the road, start to peek to the left and right. See if you can find a deal. Maybe a vacant building, maybe something that could be for sale. You never know what's going to be around the corner. So thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you guys next time.